Hey, what's up, everybody? Just a quick announcement before we jump into this episode. You're going to hear this announcement for the next 3 weeks. I apologize for not getting an episode out in a while. I know that I said Starship Troopers, but my buddy and I have been kind of struggling to schedule time in together to get it done. Just we're both very busy right now and just haven't been able to lock in. So I'm going to be dropping a couple of episodes that were originally put on the Patreon each week until I get them caught up. So I don't know if it'll be in this order, but you're going to hear this opening on each one of them. So Enemy Mine, Predator, ET. So if you're hearing this, it means these were ones that were originally on the Patreon. I didn't go back and edit them. They're as they were put up on the Patreon. So if they feel a little different than the normal formula, that's why. And we'll get back to sort of the regular scheduling after this. Cool. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the Compendium Cast. I am Jason Ashcraft. Today I am joined by Carlos Alvarez of Shadow Dance, Beholder, and Dirty Viking Audio Productions. I'm going to let him introduce himself and talk about his projects for a little bit before we get into the podcast. How you doing, Carlos?
I'm doing fantastic, my man.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about you, your projects, your bands, everything. Who are you, man?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just a dude disguised as a dude playing a dude. I don't know. You mentioned the three things. So I'm the guitarist and primary songwriter. Primary songwriter for Shadow Dance, which is a power metal band with progressive elements, and more recently the guitarist and primary songwriter for Beholder, which is a old school, kind of not too old school, but like epic classic style doom metal band mixed with some darker power metal elements, all based in classic Dungeons and Dragons lore and stuff like that. And Dirty Viking Audio is my own studio where I've worked on many, I like to think, really awesome albums, including more than a handful of yours, good sir.
Yeah, that includes the Extraterrestrial Compendium, which has inspired the podcast, which is why Carlos is here. See, everybody,
I played lead guitar on that too.
That's true. That's right.
And even a couple solos too on that album.
Yep. Not this one, but let's see what Queen of the Galaxy, and you did one in Enemy Mine. Was there any others I forgot?
Well, I did the solos for those, and I also did for what was the ET song?
Always Right Here.
Yeah, I also did the solo for that, and but I also did all the the lead guitars and stuff, melody guitars and all that shit for all the other songs on the album. And then I what else did I do on that? I reamped it and mixed it, right?
Yeah. Edited the guitars, everything. Yeah,
didn't need editing.
So all the solos Carlos actually did were like solos I wrote, but I enjoyed. But I lacked the confidence I do now to track lead parts, so I just I let Carlos do it, and they sounded great.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, man.
They're always a lot easier when I don't actually have to write them.
So check out Shadow Dance, Beholder, and if you're a band and need some mixing, go to Dirty Viking Audio Productions. The singer of Beholder might be familiar to you all. It's our very own John Yellen. So Big John. Yep. So, but today we're getting into Predator. Yeah, one of my favorites. One of our favorites here. So. Mm-hmm. This movie inspired the first song of the album, Iwata, Hunter Culture.
Is that how you say it?
That's how I say it. I have no idea if it's right. I
don't either.
I put it into one of those like Google, how do you say this? And Iwata is what it said to me. I've heard people say it other ways, so I don't know.
You're the boss on that stuff, so I figured I just
yeah.
How do you say it again? Say it again.
I say Iwata.
Iwata. Say it a little slower.
Iwata.
Iwata.
Yep.
Iwata.
Again, that's how I say it. I don't know if it's correct, but
All right.
So
Iwata.
actually, this song is the only one not actually like based on the movie. It's more based on the alien species itself,
like the lore.
Yeah, exactly. But we're choosing to talk about Predator because it's the movie that inspired to write about the song. But when we did the song, I wanted the song to be more about the culture of the Iwatas themselves rather than just this movie. So really, we could have picked any movie, but this is the one,
Cool.
And yeah, so we'll do a little overview here. It was directed by
John McTiernan.
Thank you. Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to read that last name. John McTiernan. Tiernan. This is why Carlos is here, everybody. John McTiernan. He's known for his work in the action genre. He's done things like Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, obviously Predator. It was one of his more earlier works that helped establish him.
Also did one of my all-time favorite movies, 13th Warrior.
No way. I haven't seen that movie in years, but
the wife just got me the collector's edition. Not to go off on a rant or anything, but she just got me like the collector's edition from France because it's never been released on Blu-ray in the US. And and I hadn't watched it in years because I was waiting for a US Blu-ray release and it never happened. So I actually got to watch that last month. And oh man, I went to see that movie 5 times in the theater, and I've probably watched it about at least another 25 times since. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
And that's the one with Antonio Banderas, right?
Yep. Vladimir Kulik, Antonio Banderas. Yeah. And John McTiernan did that because he knows how to put together a group of like fucking macho dudes and make a cool story out of it, obviously.
I don't remember much from that movie. The one scene I remember, because it might sound silly, but as a kid, it just like gave me such anxiety. Still does. The swimming scene where they have to hold their breath for like ever.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's the scene that always, because I'm just always like I would have drowned. I wouldn't have made it. Like they swim so far.
I'm not afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of confined spaces. I'm not afraid of spiders. My one and only fear is drowning. So yeah, that one kind of hit a little deeper for me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's the scene of like, that's what I took away from the movie is like, good on them, because I would have not made that.
The one guy, Dennis Storhoy, almost died actually. If I remember correctly, there's a thing like they did interviews about it. He almost died filming that scene. He got stuck.
Oh, no.
Antonio Banderas actually went back down and pulled him out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he's a real boss.
I would have been like, I hope you got it, because that's my one take.
Yeah.
I'm not
CGI my ass in the rest, man.
Yeah, dude, I don't care. Kill off my character. I'm done. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Whew. Let's get into the main actors, who they play, and a little bit of sort of behind the scenes. So
awesome.
Talking about getting a cast of macho dudes, man, this is like the one,
Pretty much.
So we get Alan Dutch Schaefer, I believe is the name, portrayed by our boy Arnold Schwarzenegger. He is
come on.
He is the team leader. His portrayal of Dutch helped solidify his status as an action movie icon. So it's crazy to think now, right? But because I mean, maybe for me, you're a little older than me, Carlos, but
I saw that in the theater. So yeah, go on. Tread lightly, my friend.
Yeah. I was like, well, but Arnold was always.
I was only 13, but I saw it in the theater. So
Yeah, because this didn't come out too far after Terminator, right? So
yeah, it was a few years.
Yeah, so Arnold was still kind of becoming Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, it was Conan and Terminator, and then I think Commando.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And I'm not sure if I don't know where Raw Deal falls into all that, but it was somewhere right around the same time. It might have been like right before Predator, but yeah, Predator I think is he got on the map with Conan then he found a way to stay on the map and get attention with Terminator. But I think Predator is where people were like, okay, this is the dude.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, 3 back-to-back bangers, you know, I get it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, then that brings us to Dylan.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Played by Carl Weathers. He's
Yes.
the CIA operative. You might also know him as Apollo from the
Creed.
Rocky films. So, yeah, Apollo Creed. Box office, it had a $15 million budget, and worldwide it made $98 million. Yeah, that's pretty good. Special effects was Stan Winston, and if you're into any of these sort of sci-fi films, you should know who Stan Winston is, right?
Yeah.
Some most notably Terminator, Aliens, and of course Jurassic Park, which still stands up today. You know? Yeah. What are some others?
Pumpkinhead,
that's right. Which I'll let you talk about it because you seem to know a bit more on that topic.
Well, I just think that it, as far as I know, it's I think that's the only movie that he actually directed as well. But he created, the pretty iconic looking creature for Pumpkinhead as well.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah, starred Lance Henriksen. Yeah, so that's Ed Harley. That's all I got, man.
All right, well, it's more than I had. Yeah, I think it's
one of the cutest kids in movies ever. What'd you do, Daddy?
Oh.
That kid with the glasses.
Oh, right. Yeah. Spoilers, everyone. The kid dies.
Yeah. But the dog doesn't.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Which was unusual for movies,
Right. So that's kind of it of the kind of just, overview of the movie. But, let's get into like just first impressions of the film. Actually, this will be great because I wasn't able to see it in theaters. So I would love to know, like, I'm always curious, like, dude, just what was it like seeing Predator on the big screen for the first time?
It's kind of a hard thing to really describe with pretty much any of these things. It's like saying, what was it like to hear Master of Puppets when it released?
Right.
Like it's so ingrained in my memory and a lifetime since that it's kind of hard to really just say, like, when you go to see something like that, everything was new. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was mind blowing just because of the fact that you had never seen a movie like Predator. Now there's tons of movies that are like Predator, and there's been sequels and some better and others a lot worse, but that was the first, and so seeing it back then, young, and it being the whole genre itself being kind of fresh, that whole right in the middle of the height of that 80s action, just over the top action type movie and stuff. And yeah, man, there wasn't anything else that kind of felt like that. I guess the only thing, if you even knew about movies like this when you were my age at the time, which would have been like 13, but if you think about some of the older, maybe like Westerns or something like that, or like the old other movies like Dirty Dozen, any of these movies where they get like a large collection of really cool, different personality characters and stuff, but all of them real macho, all trying to, take down one big bad guy or save the village kind of thing. You can draw the comparisons to it, but to see something like Predator on the big screen when it came out, there was nothing else that was like that. Just like the same thing with Terminator or Aliens, any of that kind of stuff.
Okay, we're going to jump into talking about the movie, but what I want to do is, we're not going to get really particular with every single scene, but we will talk about them and just kind of highlights, and just if there's any things that jump out at you or me of just favorite moments within those scenes, we'll break those down.
Okay.
But otherwise, doing a quick summary of it. Spoilers if you haven't seen Predator yet. I don't know what to tell you.
Then you shouldn't be listening to this.
Yeah.
No, fuck off.
Stop here. Yeah. The opening scene is just a quick little. Here's the ship. Here's the alien. Boop. Really just setting the scene, right? So now we know there's an alien. And so a lot of these kind of older movies did that, where they showed the quick little scene of the alien coming to Earth. I guess maybe just so there's no confusion that this is an alien.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Thing,
Yep.
Crawl. I think Starman did it too.
Yeah. It's been a long time. I think I saw Starman. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But then we get into to the boys here, right? So, first shot of the scene, we mentioned all their names. Some of their names I'm going to forget, by the way, when I'm talking about them. So this is where Carlos will help us.
I will try.
I did my best, but some of them I'm watching like, I don't remember your name. We show them rolling up in a helicopter. They're in a jungle region of Central America, I believe. I don't remember the older gentleman's name who they first meet for what they think is a rescue mission.
Yeah, me either.
But they get there and they see Dylan, Carl Weathers' character, is there.
One of the greatest memes ever is born.
Yep. And so the Dylan informs Dutch that they're there to rescue a foreign cabinet minister and his aide kidnapped by some guerrilla forces. So this part you could shine some light on for me, maybe. Dutch is a little skeptical. Like there seems to be some tension between Dylan and Dutch. Even though Dutch is like excited to see him, he still seems a little like, I don't fully trust you. So obviously it's sprinkled in the movie. There's a history with these guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Something unspoken. I think also the fact that apparently that Dylan winds up working for the CIA. Maybe he was originally part of the team and then he jumped ship from the team to go work intelligence or something like that. And so he's a little, wary of him because of that or something.
Yeah, because again, even as I was watching the movie, I was like, I'm going to keep an eye out for this. But they never specifically say. They just sprinkle little past moments where it's like, all right, these two dudes have a history.
Yeah.
Because again, initially he's excited to see him, but then as they're talking more on the mission, like he side eyes him a bit. Yeah. He was very like, what do you mean you're coming with us? Like we work alone. So
right, because you're not part of the team anymore, kind of thing. Just to say too, it's back in the day when movies like this used to actually have a little more respect for the audience,
right?
Where things didn't have to be like fucking spoon fed to you, literally with bad exposition or something like that. They trusted the audience enough that throughout the course of watching the movie and the character development, that you could kind of piece together your own version of what might have transpired between certain characters. It's good stuff. It's good writing.
Yeah, I actually do like it. This I'm actually going to go back to a point now I was going to say in the opening scene, but I didn't. Mm. I remember when I was younger, talking about how a lot of these movies, they open up with just showing the alien ship kind of coming to Earth, and that's setting the scene for, all right, we're dealing with an alien. I used to not like that because I'd be like, I want to see more of the ship and all this. But it's like, then they eventually give you that, like in some of the worse or sequels and stuff. And then you lose that mystery and it's not as fun.
Right.
That being said, I love most of the Predator, lore and the expanded stuff. So it's fine. But like you said, like if they give you too much, usually, so funny enough, I saw a trailer for the Mufasa movie, Lion King.
Okay.
And in the trailer they showed Timon and Pumbaa, and I'm like, why the fuck are they there? Like, there's no reason for them to be in a Mufasa prequel other than the fact that we gotta have Timon and Pumbaa,
Right. So everybody can remember a song or something like that. Right?
Yeah, but it's like things like, so when you get, so a lot of times prequels, when they throw in things that's like, we didn't need an explanation for it. Like, you don't have to give us leave some mystery for us,
Yeah.
It's fun that way. And so, and again, I do like that. Like, the story isn't about Dylan and Dutch, it adds that tension we need for the story, but it's not like some bro story where they're reconciling, their past. It's like, that doesn't matter. So adding that tension. So there's like, all right, there's trust issues, whatever. That's all we needed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's cool because then you, as part of the audience watching it, you have that little extra insight to the main characters without having anything spelled out. So as you're watching the rest of the movie, you know, every scenario that plays out or everything that could happen, you're sitting there going, well, what's going to happen between these two? How are they going to, you know, clash over this, or how is one person going to try to screw up the other one, or you know, assert dominance in some way? And it makes it more interesting because now you don't just have this team of you know, hive-minded macho dudes all, you know, charging forward with the same purpose in mind. Now there's like cracks in the armor, and that makes it all more interesting because you're like, if somebody gets killed, is it going to be because of a monster, or is it going to be because one of their own screwed something up, you know? And so it adds that extra element of danger and, you know, just makes it cooler.
Yep. And then, as Carlos was saying a little bit back, we get the ultimate handshake of all time. You know, you know. So when he initially sees, like, again, this is the excited part. He sees Dylan, and he's very excited. You know, and they go in for a little handshake / you know, arm wrestling match, and we get a nice, beautiful shot of both their biceps. So it's fantastic. I've been memed to hell, but they're all great. There's actually a lot of great moments from this movie that are, you know, iconic, meme worthy. A lot of stuff. Yep, and you know, I tried to take note of all those. If I forget one, I'm sure Carlos will let me know. So we get to, you know, so now we get into the helicopter ride, which was always a really cool part when I was younger. This is kind of the good part of showcasing all the different personalities of everybody, you know. And this was another great thing too that movies used to do, like personalities. I feel they came out organically, you know, as the movie went on, and you got to know the characters, and instead of being spoon fed, like, this person's exactly like this, we're going to show you in one minute, you know.
Right. And great storytelling isn't telling, it's showing.
Yeah. And having said that, I know they show quite a bit in this small scene, but again, it feels organic. This is a team who works together constantly. So them fucking with each other, joking with each other, like this would be a natural situation where they would do this while they're waiting to get to the destination point, you know? Like, so Hawkins, he's always trying to tell some dirty joke to Billy, you know, and the first one's like, I went to my girlfriend instead of like some pussy. And she said, you know, me too, because mine's as big as a house. And like, it gets like no reaction from Billy.
A little pussy.
Yeah.
A little, me too. Mine's as big as a house.
Yeah. And you'll find out later, like, he does another one and he eventually gets Billy to laugh. So I'm thinking like his whole, he only does it to Billy. So like, no, it's okay. So there's that dynamic right there between those two. Like, he's, for some reason, he was always trying to make Billy laugh. You know?
Right. None of the other guys, just Billy, because he figures I'm the one that's going to get this dude who never smiles to laugh or something like that. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a little personality thing. It's cool.
Yep. It's always a dirty joke about his girlfriend's private parts too, but you know, men, right? And then another iconic line from Jesse Ventura. He's like passing around his tobacco, and like no one wants it. So again, kind of setting up that, all right, this dude loves his tobacco. And you know, actually, so speaking of meme-worthy stuff, you made a meme of me with this once. So he says, this will make you a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus.
That's right.
Just like me.
Yeah. Hey, did you know the helicopter pilot is the guy who plays the Predator?
I did. Okay. Yeah. Well, I did when I was looking up these notes, but I actually thought it was the helicopter pilot at the end of the movie. So it's this pilot.
Yeah, I think it's the guy. When they're flying to the mission.
Oh, okay.
With the reflector sunglasses on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had notes at the end of the movie like, this helicopter pilot is the Predator. But
you know, to be honest, it might even be the same guy at the end. Also, I don't know.
That would make sense because nothing happened to the helicopter.
Yeah, he dropped them off and left. He pieced out.
Yeah. So it could very well be the same guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're listening to Long Tall Sally by Little Richard.
Yeah.
Yep. So, you know, they get dropped off and they find another wrecked helicopter. And that's when, again, you get a little tension between Dutch and Dylan because Dylan's playing dumb. Well, I don't know. You know, but he obviously knows.
He's the intelligence guy. So, yeah.
Yeah. They get to the wreckage. And it's kind of cool. This is where we hear like the Predator theme for the first time.
Right.
We don't see it. We don't, know about it, but you get the music.
So again, classic monster,
Yeah.
You don't see it right away.
Yep. Billy cuts some vine to get some water, and this is where he like senses, I guess, because there's no way he like saw the bodies, but he finds 3 bodies hanging and skinned. And this is where they find the tags, and it reads Jim Hoppers.
Yeah.
Who Dylan or Dutch knew. He's like, I knew these men. What were they doing here? And that's where Dylan's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Right. There wasn't supposed to be any other operations here. Yeah.
Yep. And this is where again they're planting the seed, because Billy, the guy who like he's the scout, he senses things. He's very confused because he's like, I don't see any struggle signs, I don't see any traps or other men. So, this is where we're like, all right, something's up, But this is also where we get our first point of view shot from the Predator. So we get that famous infrared shot from the Predator, and then as they're walking along. Getting they're on their way to this guerrilla camp where they think these hostages are, and then Dylan like trips or something, and this is when Mac like gets up in his face and he's like, "You're ghosting us, motherfucker," So there's obviously this more tension going with the team, and I like how Mac's just like, "I don't give a fuck who you are in the real world, like." If you fuck us over here, like I'll
give away our position again, I'll bleed you.
That's what he says. Yeah, I'll bleed you.
I'll bleed you real quiet. Leave you here. Got it.
Yep. So, but it's like showing us the characters as the time progresses, because now we're finding out like Mac, like don't fuck with Mac, dude.
No, don't fuck with Mac.
Like again, I think all of them, it's just like they're this tight unit, and now there's this guy who doesn't belong, right. And now you're throwing off our groove, man.
Right.
So they get to the camp and they're scouting it out, and Dutch sees that a man sees what I guess is a hostage, and he gets shot in the head, and Dutch does not like this. So this is where I get confused, and maybe I just missed something, but every time I watch the movie, I miss something, because I know it's a ploy. I know Dylan's trying to get information there.
Yeah.
But so who was this hostage? And like, yeah, that's who I missed. Like, who was this person that actually got shot? Was it someone they knew? Was it just some random guy, and Dutch thought it was one of the hostages?
No, I think it was actually, so the people that were skinned were actually the military people that got sent in. So I think the hostages were actually the either other CIA intelligence operatives, because I honestly, I'm not even entirely sure if there ever was a cabinet minister and his aide or something. So right. I think they might have been other intelligence agents that were, quote unquote spies trying to infiltrate this guerrilla network or something like that. And that's who Dylan was actually trying to get to, because they had an undercover intelligence operation going on to get all the info about these guerrilla networks and stuff. So the hostage that they see get killed, I think, is actually just other CIA operatives or something that Dylan may or may not know, but that are working for him, which is why he got Dutch's team involved, because the first team disappeared. That was Jim Hopper's team or something. I can almost say that without Arnold's voice. Hey, Hopper, but yeah. So when that team didn't report back, they got Dutch's team involved,
and that makes sense, because he probably knew Dutch wouldn't be down, so they used another team. But now,
right? So he disguised it as a rescue mission.
Yep. Because he knew Dutch would do that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so that was why when, not to get ahead of things, but when everything, goes to fucking shit in the guerrilla camp and stuff, and then you see Dylan all happy, like looking through all the, the papers and stuff like that. So.
Yep. Which we'll get to now.
Yep.
So Dutch sees this. He doesn't like it. They launch a pretty coordinated assault on the camp. They take out some guys silently. Dutch, Arnold does the kind of he lifts up I think they're pumping water with a truck,
something like that. Yeah,
something like that. He uses
or a generator. It might have been a generator for
okay. He puts a bomb behind it, and he lifts it off the wood that's holding it, and basically sends it into the eating quarters and blows everyone up, and then everything goes to shit. A lot of chaos, a lot of people dying.
A lot of one-liners.
I was just gonna say I have this written down. So we get like our first like one liner of the film is Dutch like throws a knife on someone, says stick around.
Stick around.
And then we also get the I ain't got time to bleed from Jesse Ventura, which apparently he came up with that on the spot. So which is pretty cool.
Son of a bitch is dug in deeper than an Alabama tick.
Apparently this explosion was one of the largest practical effects explosions filmed at the time.
Oh yeah.
Requiring meticulous planning and multiple cameras to capture the scene. So that's a cool little tidbit. So now Dutch and Dylan get into it because Dutch is on to Dylan. This is where he's starting to figure out that shit doesn't add up.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's where he's like, it's all bullshit, all of it. The cabinet minister. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like now that actually I've just thought about that, that's what it is I don't think there was ever a cabinet minister. I think it was other CIA operatives in like an undercover operation to get intelligence on guerrilla networks. And they were probably Dylan's guys. And that's why he wanted Dutch's team to go in.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. It's all coming together. Right. So they fight. Basically Dylan's just like, yeah, you guys are fucking expendable. Suck it. You know, Arnold doesn't like that. Capture. Well, Dylan wants to capture Anna and thinks she could be good for information. So basically they're just like, all right, well, she's your baggage. You fall behind. You're on your own. So as they're packing up, ready to leave, they're looking for an extraction point. This is where Mac calls Dylan over and he says, over here. You know, I can't whisper like him, and he has him turn around. He knifes a scorpion that's on his back and he kills it. But this is where we're getting little flashbacks where the predator is clearly observing them. He's, hunting, stalking them. And then we get another good joke from Hawkins. The other day I was going down on my girlfriend and I said, geez, you got a big pussy. Geez, you got a big pussy. Because of the echo. This one makes Billy laugh.
Why'd you say it twice? I didn't.
Oh yeah, why'd you say it twice? That's it. Yeah.
Because of the echo.
This one gets Billy. And again, we see, and then the predator kind of mocks it. So we see that he can mimic and he can learn and he can kind of
like any real hunter, he's observing his prey before doing anything.
Yep. Seeing what they're all about, seeing
strengths and weaknesses. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and these two things will kind of be important later, the overhear and the laugh, Mm-hmm. So they're out of there. They're going on their way. They're trying to get back to the helicopter so they can get out of there, unaware that this whole time they're essentially being watched by the predator. But then Billy gets all weird, right? And I think it's Pancho, the guy who we always forget about. He says, like, Billy and that nose of his, oh dang,
Mm-hmm.
Anna attempts to escape twice. She gets away the second time mostly, and Hawkins goes after her. And so now they're sort of separated at this point, the two of them. And so Hawkins is the first to die. This is where we get our first quote vision of the predator because he's in his camouflage, and you don't really see it, but you hear like a ching, like a blade come out. And anyone who knows the predator now, they got the infamous wrist blades or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we can only assume that's what killed him. So his body gets dragged away, and they only find like his gun and his radio. And so a little fun fact there about Hawkins, now that he's bye-bye, he was played by Shane Black, and he was brought on primarily to help with script rewrites because he was a script writer. And but the director cast him in a role so they can keep him on set in case they needed like script rewrites and stuff.
Yeah, he was a pretty big deal before Predator and stuff. With a lot of his screenplays.
What other things did he do?
Lethal Weapon.
Oh, okay.
Was a start. Whoa, Christ. Like I think he either wrote that or was like part of the screenplay, but there was a couple other things too. Like there's a movie I love, Monster Squad. There was that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of the
almost like the Goonies, but
right. That's what I thought. But with like the Universal monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen that like once when I was younger.
Great movie.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So he was making a name for himself, doing screenwriting and script writing for a handful of action movies before he got cast in Predator. So he was kind of like the it guy, like at that particular moment. So
right. Okay. Nice. Love it. He also, I think, came back and directed The Predator, which sucked.
The one before Prey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible. I don't know what happened there. It was terrible.
Yep. Anyway,
it really makes you appreciate the hell out of Predator 2. That's for sure.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yep. So again, Anna was the only one who saw it, and they ask her what happened, and she just keeps saying the jungle came alive and took him.
Fucking lizard.
So that's later, but yeah, fucking.
You saying a fucking lizard?
Yeah.
3 or 4 guys tops. Fucking lizard.
I love his reactions to this shit.
Oh, that's great.
Orders the team to look for Hawkins' body, so they all kind of split up in a perimeter. And as they're looking around, unfortunately, our boy Jesse Ventura gets shot with a fucking shoulder-mounted plasma by the Predator, straight through the back, out through the chest.
Boom.
Max sees this, and I haven't brought it up yet, but Mac and Blaine, the characters, are really good friends. You know?
Yeah.
So
they have like an extra history that goes beyond that team or something like that.
Yeah. So Mac kind of starts to see red, and he comes in screaming, blasting, and this is where he nicks the Predator in the leg. And they show a quick little shot of this leaf with like some green blood on it. And so the Predator blood was made with liquid from a glow stick and KY jelly. Fun fact.
Nice. KY was responsible for a lot of effects back then.
We need it to look slimy. Get some
KY.
like
the drool from like the aliens and stuff like that. It was like whole KY.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Fun times.
Yep. So if you ever feel awkward having to buy some KY jelly, just be like, oh, I'm just shooting an independent horror film.
There you go.
Yep. I wouldn't question it. So anyway, so yeah. So they start blasting. He picks up his big old fucking a Gatling gun. That Blaine was carrying on his back. And I love this part too, because again, this just shows like how tight the team is. No one questions anything.
They see him shooting and they just jump in.
They all just line up and start shooting. And they almost wait for his. Like when he stops, they stop. I mean, well, he holds on to that gun after it's
he runs out of ammo.
He's still firing. But my point is like they don't stop till he runs out of ammo. And so again, that just shows how much they like trust. Like, all right, if Mac's shooting, we're shooting.
Right.
You know,
shoot first, ask questions later.
Yep. And so then after that, they're like, "What was it?" All Mac just repeats is, "I saw it." You know, and he can't really say what he saw, obviously, because I forgot to mention to back up though, is like he does see the sort of the camouflage of the body over Blaine's dead body, and the eyes like flash yellow real quick. So he sees that, and that's when he starts blasting. So this is where Anna or during this whole scene where they're figuring things out, there's a lot going on. They're trying to figure out what's going on. They're all confused. Anna kind of takes some of the blood that's on the leaf and I guess like puts it in her pocket. I don't know, because she's looking at it later.
She wipes it on her leg.
Okay, that's what it was.
To like clean her hand off.
Yeah. That scene, I guess that scene always confused me, but I have to imagine just with the practical effects, because like you see that and then you don't see anything on her leg, but then later there's just this glowing blood that she's like looking at, you know.
On her leg where she like wiped her hands on.
Yeah. It's a little fun fact of our boy Jesse Ventura, now that he's no more. He found out that he had bigger biceps than Schwarzenegger. And so there was something that he proudly boasted about during the whole filming of this movie.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
He was also, I think, actually in Special Forces for real.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Before he became like, Jesse the Body Ventura and all that stuff. He was actually, I think he was actually a Navy SEAL or something, or Special Forces or something, some division or whatever. But yeah,
nice.
Legit badass. like an
Hell
actual
yeah.
legit badass.
Good for him. Good for him. We do a quick little cut to a scene of the Predator cleaning his leg, and this is just just to showcase sort of the advances the Predator has, and you see his little toolkit. So I think again it's more just to give you a little more, because it's not a very long shot. It's very short, but it's just meant to kind of show you a little more of the Predator, what he's all about, and he can he can basically fix his own wounds like out in the field, so
Right.
he's a very, very skilled hunter and all that. And so
it's trained not only in hunting but also survival and stuff.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. I was like, I'm not getting the words.
It's also kind of important too, because even though because it happens so quick, but when it gets shot and you see like that little splurt of green blood, quote unquote blood, you don't really know what it is at first, but when you see the Predator doing first aid on itself and tending to its wounds, it's kind of important because it also lets you know this thing can get hurt, that it's not like invincible to bullets or something like that. That it's an important shot, because otherwise, if this thing seems to deflect bullets or walks through fire, then you're like, well, how are these guys in the middle of nowhere running out of resources going to be able to fight it? So it kind of gives the audience a moment to say, oh, okay, so yeah, then they might actually have a chance if they can chip away at it enough or something.
Yep. And that is what's cool, you saying that, because again, it shows like this isn't some overpowered being. It's just more highly advanced with technology, but otherwise, if it would have been in the line of fire of all those guns, that would have been the end,
Right.
So it just luckily got away. But bullets, we'll save that for Arnold to share. But,
okay.
Yeah. So the men are trying to speculate what it is, right? At this point, they're all, it's this, it's that, it's not a man. I don't know what it is. And this is when Dylan's just like, this isn't the lizard thing yet, but he's still just like, y'all are fucking crazy. Like, what are you talking about, man? It's some dudes. Yeah.
3 or 4 guys out there.
Yeah. So they set up a perimeter, like with tripwire and all their traps and stuff. And, Max reminiscing about, the times with Blaine. And he says, like, I'm going to carve your name into this motherfucker, and so I wrote a board, but a boar comes into the camp and sets off a trap. A board. Yeah. A wooden board comes in and sets off the traps. And Mac, what's up?
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, for real. What were they thinking?
John McTiernan had brought in a board instead.
So
yes, a board.
Mac gets all up on this shit thinking it's the Predator, right? And it's not. So, no. Spoilers. But this is where they go back, because first they go to check on Anna, because they're like, oh shit, Anna escaped, but then they realize, oh no, she's fucking terrified.
Right.
So this is when they start to realize, like, okay, it's not her crew. I mean, they already kind of knew that, but it's really sinking in that, all right, she's no longer trying to escape. Like, she feels safer with us than out there.
Right.
Then they realize Blaine's body's gone, so they're like, damn, this fucker just came in and took it right under our noses, So now, the next morning, this is when Dutch finally realizes, because they're like, there's still no signs of this thing, and Dutch realizes he's using the trees. This is when Anna explains that it was wounded and it bled, and this is where we get the line, if it bleeds, we can kill it. It's
a great song.
It is a great song. So
things out there. It bleeds, we can kill it.
Oh God! Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, what the hell do you think I was talking about?
The Austrian Death Machine song.
Oh, I don't know. I know the name of the band, but I've never listened to them. So.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the Predator musical or something.
Yeah, the musical. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's great.
Yeah.
So now they're setting up traps using just the jungle, because they're theorizing that somehow it can see or sense their shit. So they're like, all right, maybe let's use the jungle. You know?
It's using it so we can try to do the same thing. So
Exactly. Yeah. Clearly just an excuse to get all these dudes topless, because there's like a scene of them like lifting up a big all heavy tree, and like they're all just like, yeah, look at them, the muscles flexing,
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was there for.
Unrealistic body expectations and all that kind of shit, right?
Yeah, of course. So this is where I think we get the lizard shot, because Anna starts telling a story that her villagers used to tell stories of the Predator. So that's, to me, that was an interesting throw in, because it's like we clearly see him in the beginning coming to Earth, but now
they don't say when.
Okay, fair enough. Good, fair enough. Yeah, they don't.
No. I mean, when they show that opening shot, there's nothing to indicate that that's happening anytime, close to the time of the movie you're watching.
And that's what I mean. That's why I said fair enough. You're right.
It could have been 1,000 years previous or something, even though
right.
they tried to retcon that later. But yeah.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And they said they would call it the demon who makes trophies out of men. And this is kind of where Dylan's like, this is where he's had enough, and he says fucking lizards, like,
I think, because that was right when they started to do all the traps, like you said, with the trees and everything else, and then nothing works or whatever. And he's like, "What now? Cheese?"
Oh yeah. Yep.
What do you try next? Cheese?
Yeah. So Dutch goes out into the open, because they're all like hiding, and I assume he does this to try to lure it out, Yeah. And this is where you get a cool fucking shot, which again just shows like how good the Predator can be, because like Dutch finally stands up, like, all right, nothing's here, and then boom, the trap behind him goes off, indicating that the Predator was fucking right behind him.
Right behind him, yeah.
Like probably about to strike,
Yep.
And then he gets caught in the trap. He starts shooting off his plasma gun, and he sets off one of their traps by doing so. That it's like a big ass tree, a part of a tree that comes slamming into Poncho. So Poncho's down for the count, and Mac takes off after him. He's like, nah, fuck this, and so Mac goes after him. Dylan goes after Mac. And this is another weird part to me. Like, Dylan suddenly just has, because like, again, Dylan and Dutch share this moment where he's like, you can't win this thing, man. Dutch says that to Dylan, and Dylan's like, maybe I can get even. So maybe I picked up some bad traits from you, saying that to Dutch. So now he's like had this change of heart. I guess for me, it felt a little too fast, because maybe now that maybe I should take that back, because maybe now that he's like seen it, because because the Predator does reveal himself real quick also in this scene. So maybe now that I'm saying it out loud for the first time, maybe now that Dylan's like, oh shit, okay, like we're fucking going.
I think also though, like maybe some of the because again, he may or may not have been originally at some point part of Dutch's team, but he was on a team nonetheless of the same kind of people, and so maybe with the situation being what it is, he realizes that everybody needs to be able to rely on everybody in order to get out of it alive. And so that's why, when it's not that Mac, says like, fuck this, I'm out, because he's scared. He goes chasing after the Predator. And so Dylan's like, I'll go get him, because again, we stand maybe some kind of chance of getting out of this if we all stick together, but if we splinter apart, we're fucked. So he's going to go after Mac to try to reel him back in and get him back to the group and stuff. And that's why, it's not really so much it's not an out of character change of heart or change of character or something. I think it's in his character. It's just, it comes out at that moment to be part of that type of team again, because it's all about them looking out for themselves to survive.
Yeah. Good point. See? Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it sounded good when I said it.
Dead air. No, I agree. Yeah. So we get the first glimpse of the Predator, right? And so here's a little kind of behind the scenes of the design. The original design of the Predator was supposed to include a really long neck and a dog-like head. But Stan Winston was brought in to redesign the creature. and that's where we got the iconic look that we have now.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about the facial features when we get to that scene in the movie.
Yeah.
But a fun little fact that I always thought was cool is if you watch the movie Predators, which I really love. I know some people, some people don't, but I thought it was great.
I thought it was an excellent movie.
Yeah. I love the character Adrian Brody does. Like, a lot of people were mad that, it didn't like Arnold. But dude,
after that movie, my wife refuses to call him Adrian Brody. Ever since that movie, every time he's on screen, she's like, "Oh, it's Adrian fucking Brody," because he was so badass in that movie.
Yeah, dude, he's so ruthless, and that's what I love about it. Like,
he's a survivor.
Yeah, exactly. And it was great. Yeah. So, anywho, but what I was saying about with that movie, they bring in the original design. It's obviously not the Predator, but it's like a creature that was brought to that planet to get hunted. But I thought that was just a really cool little thing they did. Yeah, bringing back that character. And then also, just real quick before we move on, all these traps that were set up here, they were actually designed with the help of military advisors to ensure that they looked realistic and could feasibly be constructed by the characters. So
I didn't know.
They brought in people to what would you in this situation? What would you guys use?
You're out in the field. How would you guys do it? And we would probably do it like this. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly.
I didn't know that.
I love when they kind of do those little attention to details.
Detail matters, man.
Yep.
Then you get people like us going, fucking explosions in space,
right. So we get to the next shot. This is where Mac's hunting the Predator. Dylan's chasing after Mac. They finally catch up, or Dylan catches up to Mac. Or no. So Dylan is looking for Mac, and he stops, and Mac comes up behind him and like grabs him by the mouth. And he's like pointing, and he's like, he's right there or something. And you can see the Predator, like, he's in his camouflage, but he's on top of like a tree branch.
Yeah.
So this part's kind of cool because they think they got the upper hand on him, they think. So they do some strategy to kind of flank him. And Mac goes like under this like hollow tree, and then the Predator's like there above him and just like blast him in the face later.
Right.
Yeah. And then this is where, so Dylan, he's like out in the open. I forget. So this is where my notes get a little fuzzy. Like I was telling you. So from here on, you might have to help me fill in the gaps. But yeah, Dylan's like out in the open now. I kind of forget how he got there, but his arm gets blasted off by the plasma ray.
He was walking out he said to Mac, "I'll flush him out and drive him your way, and then you can basically ambush him." When
he
starts walking towards you. So that's why he was out in the open.
That's right. Okay. Yep. And then, but doesn't go as planned. And you do get this really cool shot because like his arm gets blown off, and he's like trying to get with his other hand, get his gun out. And you just see the Predator kind of circling him. And then before he's able to, he gets stabbed with the wrist blades, you know. And then it cuts to a scene of the rest of the surviving team because they hear the yell of Dylan.
Yeah.
So this is where Billy, I guess he just has a moment where he realizes like, yeah, okay, like, fuck this,
It's warrior time.
Yeah, exactly. So he like drops all his gear, and he I can't remember. I don't think he says anything to the guys, or does he?
No, they're like, "Billy, come on, Billy," but he's like, he just drops his gear, takes his knife out, cuts his chest. It's like a challenge, basically. Come on, 1-on-1 type of thing on the log, because it's kind of like, hey, Lord of the Rings, shall not pass, like,
because they're crossing over a fallen tree.
So he's going to buy them time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they take off, and Billy gets killed off screen, which is kind of a bummer. I would have liked to have seen a Billy. But again, stand.
It's kind of like the same thing, like leave it to the imagination. You've seen enough of the team members get killed on screen, so for somebody as mysterious as Billy to just hear him getting killed is kind of also part of, it's almost like they did that on purpose to stick with his character, because his character's a mystery. So why wouldn't his death scene be a mystery?
Very fair. Very fair. Yeah. See, um, and because that's the thing too is I feel like yeah you do show it. Does Billy die right away like Dylan does? Because I feel like Billy would put up a little fight, you know.
Well, also because it seems like the predators kind of scale themselves to whatever they're being challenged with. So he drops all his guns and stuff and just pulls out a knife,
Right.
thinking that, you know what I mean? So he doesn't have to fight the predator using like the plasma cannon, maybe not even the camouflage. The predator probably came out of the like this camouflage and like, you know, removed its cloaking device or whatever, and probably didn't use the plasma cannon, just used like the wrist blade thing or something to fight him kind of almost equally.
Yeah.
Because they kind of establish it does that.
Yep. And that's a really cool thing about the Predator. And, you know, he fights with honor, you know?
Yep.
And that actually gets mentioned.
They have a code.
Like, yeah. And that gets mentioned like right in the next scene because Anna like picks up a weapon and I think, or tries to, or something. And like Dutch like kicks it away from her.
Yeah.
And he's like, he didn't kill you because you didn't have a weapon. Which is a cool concept. But I also, and again, you might catch this. At what moment did Dutch realize this? Because he also realized they're killing them one by one. So I guess I wouldn't have come to that conclusion. I just would have been like, well, it's not your turn yet, you know?
Yeah, I think I would actually have to watch it again, but I think it's actually kind of laid out a little more clear than that.
Right.
It's just there's just a detail that I'm not thinking of right now that I'd be like, oh yeah, remember when this happened, and then it would make sense. But there was something else. It was either Poncho or one, like he noticed that it didn't attack one of them because they weren't carrying a weapon. So
okay.
when she goes to pick it up, that's when he goes to kick it out of her hand or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
It's been a while. I would need to watch it again. It's been like over a year or something since I've seen it.
And you're still doing really good.
Try.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm remembering because remember I asked like, oh, I thought Poncho made it, but yeah, this is where Poncho gets blasted for the last time.
Yeah.
You know? And so Dutch is on the ground shooting, and this is where we get the most famous line.
You want to do it?
No, I'll let you do it.
Come on. No. Honey, wait, hold on. Quick, honey, get to the chopper.
Oh, man.
Come on, do it.
I love it, too, because I've seen, like, in interviews with Arnold and stuff, and people ask him about, like, did you know these lines would be iconic and stuff? And he's like, no, that's just how I talk. Like,
yeah.
He's like,
I'll be back, you know, like, he didn't know. James Cameron's like, no, I want you to say, I will be back. No.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Yep. So now, yeah, Anna takes off. Dutch, like, you know, falls down a hill because you got to have that, right? And
why not?
Yeah, why not? Falls into some water, falls down a waterfall.
A water wall.
In my notes, everyone, I wrote water wall, and Carlos won't let that go.
I won't let it go.
No. So he falls down this water wall, and he's like crawling to the shore, crawling on mud, and then he just hears a splash behind him. So clearly the predator has followed him. And he's crawling through a bunch of mud, and he tries to almost like bury himself into some branches, like blend himself in. And he's just standing there. So the predator comes up, and his like camouflage is malfunctioning from the water, I think is what's happening here.
Yeah.
And
or maybe damage from the fall or something.
Yeah. And he like walks up like right in front of Dutch, and then eventually just like walks off. And this is where Dutch has the realization that, oh, he can't see me because the mud. So mud will become a major player moving forward, you know?
Yep.
So from this point, we're sort of moving near the end of the film. This is where Dutch is now kind of setting up his last stand. And this part's really cool because, again, you get kind of insights of both our leading characters, if you will, Dutch and the Predator. And there's this montage of Dutch setting up, again, a last stand, more booby traps, more weapons. He makes a bow and arrow from his surroundings and stuff. But while all this is happening, you see the Predator. I forget whose body it is, so maybe you can.
Pretty sure it's Sonny.
Sonny. Okay. Um, yeah, you see.
I mean,
Go ahead. Billy. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, it's just Sonny's. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Billy's body.
Yeah. That makes sense because it was the last kill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, not really. Poncho was the last kill, but doesn't matter. He fucking just rips out his fucking spine and skull, and this has become like a infamous just predator thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So again, while Dutch is setting up all his traps and stuff, you see the predator is cleaning and shining up the skull, and this is where you kind of realize, oh, he takes trophies, or I guess this is a callback to when Anna said, like, a demon that takes humans as trophies, or what did she say?
Makes trophies of men or something.
Makes trophies of men, but this is showing that, you know, so which again, that will become a major thing in Predator lore and movies. Is that's what they do. So then we get the badass shot where Arnold throws the torch into a huge fire pit he's made, and he lets out a good old Arnold roar, essentially calling forth the Predator to battle.
The challenge.
Yep. So they fight, they do stuff, and this is another kind of shot. So he's got himself covered in mud, and he's what?
That was so anticlimactic. You're like, this is where he issues the challenge. So so they fight, and
so
way to downplay it, man.
So
dude, fight
once again, I lost where my notes were, so I was like trying to quickly find my notes and still keep going.
So the credits roll, and
yeah, they fight. Some stuff happens, all that
was funny.
Stuff. Yeah, so but the Predator answers the call. Okay.
Yes. Oh, there you go. That's better. Yeah. Now I'm invested. All right.
Okay. And so this is another moment of like Dutch's. Like I forget how he gets to it, but he's hugging this tree, like trying to hide, and you see this cool shot of the Predator, like literally right behind him. Like I almost don't believe the Predator doesn't know he's there just on other senses alone, but sure.
I think a lot of it's the stuff. It's relying on its technology at that point,
right?
So that's the reason why it seems kind of plausible that it could actually be standing right next to him and not be aware of him, because its sight is all messed up from the huge bonfire thing that's been lit. So its infrared is all out of whack, even, at a distance. And it's still relying on the other parts of its technology, but it can't see or distinguish or hear anything.
That's so, after seeing this movie so many times, there's like little things I never think about. And you just like said one of them, like the bonfire. I was just like, all right, yeah, it's a fucking bonfire. But yeah, it makes sense that he did it to fuck with his vision. He shoots at it, doesn't quite hit it. And then at this point, the Predator's like, all right, something's going on here. And he starts shooting his plasma gun like everywhere. Just trying, because he's not realizing that his senses are being fucked. So I think they're catching on to each other, Yeah. The Predator is realizing like, oh shit, okay, he's learning, I'm learning, so he's just shooting everywhere because he can't really see, and he's just
right.
So then we get the shot. Arnold runs away and he tries to jump and grab this branch, and it breaks and he falls into the water. Oops. So this obviously cleans the mud off him, and you do get this cool fucking shot when he's like crawling out again, and the Predator. All you see is the two blades, his wrist blades, like just come down over his head,
pinning him
down. Yep.
Yeah. And
then we just get into, some of the coolest shit, right? I mean, this is what we've all been waiting for. And so again, I know you probably don't have an answer, but I always just like to imagine like how fucking cool was that the first time,
Oh, dude. Yeah, like I said, man, that reveal.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, first time, like, when nothing like this has really been done, and you're just like, oh fuck, like what is this thing,
Yep. It's just, you never saw anything like it. So
yep. Like even now, like it's exciting to me, and it's like I've seen plenty like it, but you still just know, like, yeah, this is why, again, like the buildups are they're so worth it, man. If the slow burn has a great payoff like this, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Predator doesn't just kill him outright, because again, he's a hunter. He does have some honor, and at this point, I'm pretty sure he's considered Dutch like a worthy, foe.
Yep.
And so I think he picks him up, tosses him, or whatever. That somehow they're kind of they're facing off, And this is where the Predator again starts to show that like honor system, if you will. He takes off his guns, right? I don't think he removes his blades. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't think so, but he knows Arnold is unarmed.
Yeah.
But he's given him such a good run for his money that he's like, it's also kind of like a personal thing, I think, for the Predator. He's like, I'm gonna squash this dude with my bare hands now. After all this should have been an easy hunt, you know what I mean? But
right.
Now this guy's been a pain in my ass, so now I'm gonna squash this guy one-on-one, you know. But I'm doing it fair.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah, because he just takes off his gun, and then we get the face reveal. He takes off the mask, and this again, we get another famous Arnold line where he's like, "You are one ugly motherfucker," which I think has almost come up in every other Predator film. Like it's just the thing you have to say.
Yeah, some variation of it for sure. Yeah,
exactly. I can't remember. I know in the second one, do they go to say it and he gets? I know there's one movie where someone gets cut off.
Yeah, I think it's the second one.
Okay,
I think it's the second one. It's been a few years longer since I've watched that one, but
because I think you're supposed to think it's dead, and then Danny Glover goes to say it, and he like grabs him by the throat or something.
Yeah, and it finishes it. Yeah, he goes,
"That's right, yes,
one ugly," and then it grabs him by the neck, motherfucker.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Team effort.
Yep. And then this is where we get the face reveal for the first time, and this is where I said I'd mention some more on it because it's so cool how like some of these things just are happy accidents because the face of the Predator designed by Stan Winston, it was created during a plane ride with James Cameron, who said, "I've always wanted to see like either an alien or a creature with mandibles." So it was actually by the suggestion of James Cameron where they got inspired to give the Predator the mandibles that it has. So it's like without that plane ride with James Cameron, who knows what it would have looked like?
That's pretty interesting,
right?
Yeah.
Because to my knowledge, James Cameron himself is not involved in this film. So it's kind of cool that he's still in some little way, helped it out. And now we have the iconic look of the Predator because of that plane ride.
Nice.
Yeah. So, they duke it out. Dutch is getting his butt kicked by the Predator. So he, at this point he has to use, his smarts because he realizes, all right, 1-to-1 power level.
Physically, there's no match. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he tries to lure it into a trap. And this is another like kind of famous little thing from Arnold.
Yeah.
He's down like in this corridor ditch. Either he's set up, he's booby trapped, and he's like, "Come here, I'm here, kill me, do it now,
come on, do it, I'm here, come on."
But the Predator sees the spikes and he's like, "Nah, fam,"
Yeah.
But luckily, or either this was planned, like Dutch knew he would see those. I don't know, because he just happened to, luckily fall into another trap that Dutch had, where a giant ash tree. I don't want to call them tree branch because they're not tree branches, but like
a log.
A log. Thank you. That's like I know it's called something. Yeah, giant log.
I'm here to help.
Thank you. Yeah, falls onto the Predator, and this is where. We see, all right, so this is, the Predator. And this again goes back to kind of what you were saying is like, he's not invincible. And other than like his size and strength, he can pretty much be killed just as easy as a man.
You just got to get past the technology.
Exactly. Because all it took was this big ass log to take him out. And this again is where we get another really cool kind of iconic Predator thing where, so because again they don't, even though they're honorable and they'll fight you fair, they also don't like to lose.
Right.
And so don't worry, they have protocols for this.
I think some of it's also to make sure they're not ever discovered.
Good call. Yeah. See, that's the intelligence of the Predator there. Yeah.
So you can't like take their technology or anything like that. So
yeah, very smart. Very smart. Good on them. So yeah, he on his wrist he sets off a bomb basically, and it's got a little countdown, and Arnold kind of realizes it. And this is again is a little callback of how they learn and mimic, because he does Billy's laugh that Billy does at the joke, but it's way more sinister here, obviously.
Right.
And so Dutch realizes, well, that's not good. Starts running off. You know, he survives. Don't worry, everyone. You know, spoilers. He makes it just out of reach, as they do in these movies. You know, so Predator's dead, and then we get that fucking shot of Arnold when the helicopter comes and the dust is settling, and there's Arnold just standing there, like dirty as hell, looking awesome. You know,
completely out of it.
Yeah, just like fuck yeah, he's exhausted, traumatized.
Yep.
You know, all that, and then so the final scene is Dutch is just looking out the helicopter window. You know, obviously, probably just wondering,
trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Then we get the iconic ending.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep. Which we get as Carlos and I
should have worked that into that Dire Peril song at one point.
Oh man,
that would have been cool, man. You should have like actually just wrote like a little thing, like maybe a little breakdown part where it's just like it would totally like call to the movie. Next one.
Yeah, if we do a Predator sequel.
There you go.
But yeah, then we get the often parodied signature of 80s action films ending. Carlos and I were just sharing things the other day from it. We were saying, you know, it reminds you of like an intro to a sitcom. It's just showing all the characters smiling, all happy. It's a very funny ending to this devastating movie, you know?
And it's also very very much locked in the time period that it come out in. So
right,
like I said, that to me, like, you know, growing up around then, like that time period, that's what every show did. From the time I was pretty much every show from the time I was a kid, any kind of, especially a sitcom of any kind, you know, they always had that ridiculous little montage and ended on the freeze frame. And then, you know,
yep. Oh man. What were some of the songs we were looking at? There was Alf.
Oh, it was the theme song for Alf, Golden Girls.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. That one was great.
I think Cheers was my favorite one.
Yeah. That was funny.
So well.
Yeah, that one and the Golden Girls was funny too. I think they were the best.
Oh, absolutely. But that's Predator, everybody. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, I don't know what to tell you. The movie's quite old. So we're gonna do some. So we're not done with Carlos here yet. We're gonna chat about some fun things here.
Can we just go back to you saying the movie's quite old? I feel like I should smack you in the mouth for that.
Well, let's see. I actually didn't put the year it came out. What year did it come out?
It was 86 or 87. I was 13, so 87 maybe.
Okay. So, all right. It's a year older than me, so it ain't that old. No.
All right. Good. Nice backpedal.
Yeah. All right. So this is the segment I'm going to call Gonna Have Me Some Fun, which we actually didn't touch on, but that's what Mac is yelling when he is chasing after the Predator. I think that's what he's yelling.
Yeah. It's from the Long Tall Sally song.
Oh, look at that, man.
I'm gonna have me some fun. Yeah.
Yep. A little callback. Okay. So I looked up kind of these little, when I say kind of, it's because, you know, don't yell at me if my facts are wrong. But we're doing a little segment called Science Fact versus Science Fiction. Okay. So I tried to find some parts in the movie and then put in their, you know, real life counterparts of like, you know, what would be kind of the closest thing today.
Okay.
So for the first one, we got the alien physiology and evolution. So the predator, right, is depicted as a humanoid with reptilian features, including mandibles and advanced musculature, suggesting a unique evolutionary path. So for today, for the science, I put, evolutionary biology studies how organisms can adapt to their environments over time. While obviously no known Earth species share the predator's exact traits, convergent evolution shows how different species can develop similar features, wings in bats and birds. The predator's design might reflect an alien environment that favored, such adaptation. So more just touching on, the idea of this is how the predator, its looks, because, again, it's a humanoid. Other than the face, it looks very human, just very big, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously the skin texture is different. And then,
Sure.
But what would cause it to evolve with, mandibles, if you will, and the eyesight, obviously. So you got to think about, what does the sun look like on their world, or wherever. So how they would evolve into that. So just showing how different creatures we can study on Earth evolve into their environments.
I mean, I know there's a whole backlog of lore and like graphic novels and comics and all that kind of shit ever since the first one come out. But you do get a real brief glimpse of the Predator homeworld in Alien versus Predator.
Yep, I remember that really excited me.
Part 2, right?
Yeah. Part 2. The fucking that movie doesn't exist. Other than that opening scene, that movie doesn't exist to me.
I'll tell you what, man. So Alien vs. Predator is a little bit of a guilty pleasure for me. I know
I liked the first one.
So at first, when I first saw it, I was pissed off, because I'm like, how the hell do you combine two franchises that have had nothing but hard R ratings and make it PG-13? So I was a little pissed off about that. Then the director's cut come out, and I'm like, okay, this is a little bit better. But it's just one of those movies that grew on me, so that now anytime, like, I'm just like, I don't know what to watch, I'll put on Alien vs. Predator. Okay, cool. So I like the movie. The sequel come out, and it's like a hard R. And I'm like, okay, cool. I watch it, and I'm like, this sucks. Aside from like the fact that they just did not give a fuck, like they killed that kid off right away, the fucking predator alien thing in like the baby's ward in the hospital. I'm like, this movie is brutal, but somehow I was left with the impression that it sucked. I tell you what though, watch it again. I've actually watched it again not too long ago, and I was like, I don't know why I was like kind of hating on this. This is actually a pretty good movie. So yeah, there's some problems with it, but it's actually a lot better, I think, than you might remember if you watch it again.
I think my big issue was it was a teen drama with aliens and predators, and that's not what I want in a Predator film.
Fair enough. That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
But there's some funny lines in that too, right?
Right.
With the one guy, what did he say to the one guy? Like, you're too stupid to have an opinion. Shut the fuck up. That was funny, man.
Yeah. Like, I think just going from the first one and discovering this ancient pyramid and all that, like, I'm into that. And then now we're just in a suburban town with high school drama, and there's a predator and alien.
Fair enough.
Involved.
Fair enough. Yeah. But anyway, but the point being that at least they showed us a glimpse of like the Predator homeworld, which seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So our second one here, the biomask and augmented vision. So in the movie, the Predator uses a biomask that enhances his vision, provides targeting information, and filters environmental data, which that's something we forgot to mention, but there are parts of the movie where he can actually change how he perceives the world around him with his mask on.
And when you said that in part 2, right?
I'm pretty sure they do it in this one.
Remember when he's in the warehouse when the government team is trying to hunt it and he can't see them because they're wearing like the heat insulated suits. Yep. So then he starts cycling through all sorts of
that's right.
Vision spectrums or something like that until he sees their the ultraviolet lights or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So while we don't have anything that cool, we do have some sort of augmented reality technology in real life. Smart glasses, head-up displays that offer enhanced vision and data overlaying capabilities. We got military helmets with head-up displays, provides targeting assistance and environmental information. So we're getting there. Again, nothing
Yep.
as cool as the Predator mask, but it's pretty close.
Bro, you got to remember when Predator come out, okay, like all the shit that everybody's living with, like on a normal everyday existence now, is all the stuff that was just a science fiction gadget.
Oh yeah,
in those kind of movies. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
you know, somebody's like, oh, hold on, I need to take this, you know, watching like an old Buck Rogers, you know, TV episode or something. It's like, oh, I need to find out this piece of information. Pulls out this little thing out of his pocket, you know, doot, 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 punches in a couple of things on a keypad, and then all of a sudden he's got the info. Well, guess what? That's a fucking smartphone. That's what we all have now. You know what I mean? So like,
oh yeah.
So all this shit that even though we may not have it exactly the way it is, like let's say in Predator's, you know, vision display or something, give it 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Give it 10 years. The glasses you're wearing right now are going to be able to do that shit.
Oh yeah. And that's fine. The whole point of this segment is just to talk about what we do have.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's like it's not far off, man. Like some of the things that are even more outlandish are not far off, I think.
Honestly, just look at how far smartphones have come in the last decade, you
Sure.
know. That alone is just
Yeah.
So alien language and communication. This is the third one. Right. The predator communicates using a series of clicks and growls, but it can mimic human speech to taunt or confuse its prey, which is pretty cool. So linguistics and animal communication studies explore how different species convey information. So certain animals like birds and marine mammals can mimic sounds, while primates use vocalizations and gestures. So efforts in artificial intelligence aim to decode and replicate animal communication, though mimicking human speech as accurately as a predator is beyond current capabilities. I don't know. Parrots do it pretty well, but I don't think they use it to taunt us.
Well, I mean, I guess there's a difference between actual communication and mimicry, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because the predator knows what it's doing when it's using it. Like a bird does it, but it's not gonna like trick us into walking into a room or something.
Right. Like the predator, he fooled Dylan by using Mac's voice, going over here.
Yep.
Right. To get him to, you know, stop where he was going, and then at the end, it laughs. It does Sonny's laugh. It's not just doing it arbitrarily. It's doing it like as a mockery.
Yeah.
Saying like, you may have killed me, but I'm about to blow this shit up. So you didn't win kind of thing. So it's actually using it to communicate, not just mimicking.
Yeah. And that's what's really cool about it. Like I said, that's why I liked when they throw back Billy's laugh, but it's way more sinister.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly why, you know, to taunt him. So the fourth one I put planetary exploration and survival. So, you know, the predator demonstrates the ability to survive and thrive in diverse planetary environments, suggesting advanced knowledge of the ecosystems, right? So as we learn again, as we go further into the lore, like they've been to many planets, they've hunted many different species. So,
and they adapt.
And I think, again, this is something shown in the second movie and not so much this one. But it's a really cool little small thing because there's a part in the second one where he loses his mask, but they do show him briefly, like he'll put it to his face and breathe in it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows like, yeah, they can breathe in Earth's atmosphere,
but it might not
maybe. Go ahead.
But it might not be ideal for them.
Yeah, or like maybe not for long term. So like he still needs. Let me get a quick little whiff from my mask here. You know? So, you know, the close relation here we have is just planetary science and astrobiology explore how life might survive on other planets. So missions like with the Mars rovers to study potentials for human survival on Mars. So just trying to understand, you know, it's just understanding other planets, how they work, how they thrive, kind of the same suggestion. But obviously predators have done a little better than us. We're not out there hunting people yet. So.
Well, I mean, they got spaceships, so they're doing a little.
Well, you know, we're getting there. Yeah. So this next one I just thought was kind of cool. I don't know if it's really sciencey, but talk just the predator culture in society, right? The fascinating focus. They're focused on hunting, combat prowess, rituals, traditions. You know, honor again. Like they want a worthy fight. You know, it's almost like. If you think of it like Valhalla or something, like they want to they want to win, but they want to win honorably.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a warrior species.
yeah,
It's a warrior species that, like, places all their merit on your prowess as a hunter and survivalist. And the more trophies you collect, probably the higher up you stand in their hierarchy or something like that, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which, is like showcased again in part 2 when you see the ship and it's got all the various trophies, including a xenomorph skull.
Yep. And I think that's what started it all with the expansions of Alien versus Predator. Like, I'm pretty sure that was thrown in as a little joke, and they're like,
sure.
Actually,
I guess if what you said too about like how James Cameron, inadvertently helped shape the design of the Predator just by an offhand comment to Stan Winston, maybe that was almost like a little, somebody involved with it was like, well, we'll get back at James Cameron because Aliens just came out like the year before that or something, with Predator 2. So
yeah, both popular. At the time, I don't think either was really a franchise, but both popular, alien sci-fi flicks. So
no, they were both sequels at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. So, the science fact part to this is that anthrobiologists that, study human cultures with similar values, such as warrior societies that emphasize skill, honor, and rites of passage. I mean, obviously that was probably a huge inspiration on the Predator, but yeah, that's all I got for that. So that's a little thing I'm trying. We'll see how it goes with each movie. But
okay.
So one of the other things I want to talk about with the guest, and for this movie especially, it could be a lot of fun. And this is not something new, and it's something people have speculated with, especially since Prey came out. But what's like an alternate reality Predator for you? So what I mean by that is what either time era or just anything. Yeah, let's go with time era. So what would be a fun sort of time era for you and Predators? Like, where would you want to put a Predator in?
Oh man. Any of like the great time periods of cultures, like the Romans. Throw a Predator in ancient Rome, fighting like not like a gladiator or something like that, but like during some Roman battle, maybe like the beginning of the movie Gladiator when the Romans are trying to conquer the Germans, and right in the middle of that battle, you got a Predator show up, something like that. That would be badass.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I would have said an obvious choice would be some type of Viking era kind of backdrop or something, but there was already kind of a movie like that called what was it, Outworld, I think.
I'm not sure I ever saw that.
Yeah, it's got what's his name, Jesus, Jim Caviezel. He's in it, and oh god, what's his name, something Jack Houston, isn't it? Is it Jack Houston? Yeah, not Danny Houston, Jack Houston, I think. He's in it, and it's like it's basically like a retelling of Beowulf, but this dude is from an advanced civilization, off of Earth or whatever, and he crash lands on Earth because he's like a bounty hunter, and he's chasing an escaped alien that lands in India, like during Viking times, and then he has to like hunt it and stuff.
Never mind.
I think it's called Outworld or something. Or
okay.
Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Let me see something. Outlander, that's what it's called. It's from 2008.
Yeah, Outlander.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Not the Outlander.
No, it's just called Outlander.
I'm thinking of Highlander. Yeah.
No. He wasn't around then.
I was like, that's a very different movie.
Yeah. No, Outlander. It's from 2008. But yeah, it's not so much like the Predator's coming here to hunt, but I think it's escaping or something, and he's like a bounty hunter, and it lands in like Viking age Scandinavia, and it goes kind of crazy, and he's hunting it down and stuff, and so it's kind of like this monstrous killer alien kind of thing in that time setting. But I'm going off the rails here, but yeah. So
Okay.
either something like that, like ancient Rome, or some kind of classic, ancient Greek battle or something with the Predator. That could be cool. Maybe it helps like shape some of their mythology that they then create afterwards or something. I would be into something like that. I thought the Prey thing was cool, bringing it, back to, whatever it was, like the
Native Americans.
Yeah, 1600s, 1700s, or something like that. With the Native Americans, I thought there was a lot of glaring issues with that movie. It's not nearly as good as everybody tried to make it sound like it was when it came out, but it was very good. It was entertaining. I would watch another. Certainly better than The Predator, which was just hot garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I would go with, man. Like ancient Rome, any type of ancient European time period or something like that. That would be pretty neat.
A big problem of things like The Predator
or feudal Japan.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Shogun era with like The Predator. That would be cool.
So that was actually going to be my choice.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I know I'm not the first one to say it, but that would just be, I just agree. Like I've seen that a few times in like forums or, comments about, you mostly see it when people are talking about Prey, because that's when you get into speculating like, well, what if they did this? What if they did that?
Uh-huh.
And you see a lot of people talk about that era. And every time I'm just like, yeah, I would actually love to see that. That would be
well, I mean,
cool.
and also there was that scene in Predators where the Yakuza member fights the Predator and stuff. And that was like one of the coolest scenes in the entire movie.
Yep, I agree.
So that would they even had like the tall grass facing each other. You know what I mean? Like it looked like an old kind of like samurai movie or something. So that would be pretty banging.
Right.
It would also be cool if somebody drop a fucking couple of xenomorph eggs on the Predator homeworld. Have it like take place on their homeworld. You know what I mean? Like put the Predators on the defensive kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That would be something different.
Like they are the invaded for once,
Yeah, that would like, yeah, exactly. They're the hunted. That would be pretty neat. See them on the defensive for the first time.
Yeah, because there's always got to be another apex, right? So
yeah,
Predator can't always be top dog. I like that. I like that. Let's write it. Let's get it done.
All right.
All right, it's gonna take us to the end, man.
Okay.
Let's do some last minute plugs here.
Sure.
Thank you, Carlos, for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. So this won't be the first episode out, everyone, but this was technically the first official episode we did. So I'm trying out some formulas here. So it's we'll see how it plays out. Always open to suggestions for those listening of what you want to hear, what could be better. But let's do some last minute plugs for you, man. I know we mentioned some things that you do in the beginning, but if there's anything upcoming you want people to know, let's talk about it. What do you got in the works, man?
What do I got in the works? So the most recent thing is the Shadow Dance album Ageless is available if anybody gives a shit. It's on Bandcamp. It's been released by Dive Bomb Records, so you can get it from their site. You can get it on Bandcamp. You can listen to it on Spotify. The best thing to do is to buy it from Bandcamp, because then I get the money.
Give him money.
and I can finally clear this last box that's sitting in my studio of CDs. And actually, so that's Shadow Dance, and then just wrapped up the final bits of recording for the what will be the debut Beholder album. Just delivered the final song to the mix engineer. So this week we'll be doing final mix tweaks and mastering, and then starting to shop it around to some labels. Hopefully that gets picked up soon, and really looking forward to that. That's going to be, well, you've heard one song, you pretty much know what to expect. So
I have.
You've seen the artwork. We're not fucking around.
Nope.
So
it's gonna be good, y'all.
Yeah. And then aside from that, just working on several other albums for other bands at the moment. One is a symphonic death thrash type band that you're more often than not drummer is involved with. So I also played all
I know
the
who.
guitars. Yeah, I played all the guitars for that album, which was fun. I haven't been able to play death metal for a very long time, so the old man still got some steam in his arm.
Nice.
And yeah, and since it just got announced, I'm also going to be doing the mix and stuff for the next Lunar album, which again features your more often than not drummer, Alex. And that's some pretty wild progressive metal stuff. And I also did pretty much all the rhythm guitars for that one. No, not pretty much. I did all the rhythm guitars for that one. And a lot of other guitars. And yeah, man, that's it. And then there's something else coming out that I've done some bass for that we'll touch on again sometime later.
Yeah. This might be out before it. It might not. I don't know. But
yeah, we'll see what happens, you know?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
If it's out before it, then people can guess on their own. If not,
exactly.
That's all I got, man.
Cool, man. Yeah. As far as where to find this podcast, well, if you're listening to this, that means you're a patron, because it's a patron-only podcast for now.
Nice.
So thank you, patrons. If for some reason I did decide to put this out into the wild later, as I'm still debating, then I guess you can find this wherever you find podcasts. I don't know.
That's up for you to figure out, man.
Yeah, dude, you'll find it, right? Spotify, I guess. Sure.
There you go. YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, Spotify, all the usual places. But anyways, Carlos, thank you for being here, man. It's always a good time.
Hey, man, like I said, my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, we'll be talking to you soon. And thank you, everybody. I'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, y'all.